Week ended on a cliffhanger. This week we finally get the reveal, at the end of the episode, of course. And I've never been more upset to be right. Welcome to the heart of the stories we tell. My name is Rob, and tonight I will be reviewing Flash Episode 20, I Know Who You Are. And alright, let's just go into, before the spoilers, I was not a fan of the reveal, although I was a fan of the episode. The episode had a lot of great points, none of which actually dealt with Savitar. I figured out exactly how right and wrong I was almost right away when Caitlin started talking. However, I think the best part of the episode is how they handled Wally, and how they took him out of the episode without making it feel like, hey wait, where's Kid Flash? So once again, it's stop. Spoiler time. So the episode starts with Barry telling Savitar, I know who you are, and then flashes back to how he figures out who he is. Before we go into that, though, we have Wally on Earth 3 visiting his girlfriend. And you know what? With the ability to jump worlds, that's a really funny thing. Hey, yeah, I went to a whole nother Earth to visit my girlfriend. And of course, the only way he could have gotten there is with Cisco vibing him there. So, that's a really cool thing, and they didn't even need to spend money on the special effects. They saved that for later in the episode. We also have the whole Cisco and Julian subplot where Julian has to convince Cisco that he's not too bad, that he can actually try to fight Killer Frost without being afraid of hurting her. And a secondary sub-story, which is Wells' love story. He's falling for this new scientist, and you know what? I think she's kind of cool. I liked her on House. Like her even better here. I like the fact that it's someone who, just because 5 years from now you're going to do something great doesn't mean you're ready to do it now. It's a really great time travel lesson on just because something happens then doesn't mean you can force it to happen now. Of course, we all know she's going to come up with a whole bunch of things that are going to help the team. I also am of the opinion that she should be back next season as regular. She'll at least be guest starring. But okay, let's talk about the part of the episode I don't like. So every season we have to have an ally turn into a villain, and this year the ally isn't a new one, it's an old one, and it's Barry. Barry is Savitar, Savitar is Barry. Yeah, it's the Cobalt Blue story. Oh no, if you lose everything, your hero becomes a villain, and once he becomes a villain, he wants to create himself. Why couldn't Savitar just be Savitar, a Native American who was imbued with the Speed Force way back when, and then we could have even had Max Mercury, and there's so much we could have done, but instead, we have the fact that, once again, our hero isn't much of a hero. He isn't a hero because of him wanting to help people. No, he's only a hero as long as he gets his one true love, and as long as things go good for him. When things go bad, it's way too easy for him to turn evil. Speaking of turning evil, we get more Killer Frost this week, and I guess it kind of made sense that she agreed to see Barry as Savitar, because if she really wants to get rid of Caitlin, he obviously made the turn from hero to villain, and she's like, hey, I want to make that turn too, and just be cold, icy bitch. We also have the whole thing with Cisco refusing to use his power on Killer Frost, and I have to say, that might be the best, most realistic moment of the episode. Killer Frost is still a friend. One of the reoccurring things I've talked about on this channel is the difference between police use of lethal force and superhero. At the end of the day, the police use lethal force if necessary, but realistically, any time someone fires a gun or uses one of these superhuman powers, there's a chance of severely hurting someone, maybe even killing them. And think about that for a second. His vibes, his energy blast of pure vibrational energy, if it hits her wrong even slightly, could send her sprawling into breaking her head open or snapping her neck. No, I understand why he doesn't want to go all out against Killer Frost. Then again, maybe this isn't the best show to do realism in that, because let's be honest, they do injuries all the time to each other that should be way bigger of a deal. I will say also that the Killer Frost actual combat moments were pretty badass. She's really using those powers pretty well, especially ones that I'm not quite sure I connect with Killer Frost directly. See, back in X-Men comics, Iceman was the one that made that ice sled so iconic, and the Amazing Spider-Man cartoon when I was a kid had him flying around on it all the time. If they gave her that power set all the time, if they just had the money, the special effects to do that type of scene, oh, that was just beautiful. Of course, it also had a little bit of a downside, because that was yet again where we have a moment where the Flash forgets he's not just fast, he's the fastest man alive. In a scene where there is no Savitar, in a scene where where there is no Wally, where the only speedster in the picture is Barry, he should own the fight. Because point blank, he should be able to run fast enough to round Caitlin up, punch her, pick her up, carry her all the way back to Star Labs, throw her in one of those cells, and just lock the door. He should be able to do that before she can react. The only person who could stop him is himself. Well, Savitar. And that's another main problem I have with this. Why does evil Barry need Killer Frost? I hope there's a good explanation for that. Well, we also have the fact that Harry is falling for our scientist who's building the Speed Force trap, and I'm curious to see how that plays out. There is a theory going around where just, I don't know if it really requires spoilers, it's kind of weird. Remember that face-changing thing he wore back a couple episodes ago? What if someone wore it and pretended to be Iris so that Iris didn't have to die? So that when Savitar goes to kill her, he kills someone else, not Iris. Of course, the problem with that is anything that they come up with and talk to Barry about, Savitar already knows because Savitar is Barry. Which leads us to the little coming attractions. Oh, we need to stop Barry from making short-term memories so that we can tell him things without Savitar being able to know them. This has got to be one of the weirdest ideas I've ever heard. I mean, you already have the blueprint for how to handle this. The answer is, and it's very simple, Wally, Wells, Vibe, all of them go off and cut Barry out of the loop. Barry can't know what the plan is. Because if Barry doesn't know, Savitar doesn't know. But they think it's easier to turn off his short-term memory, which is going to give us a ha-ha-ha funny amnesia episode. Maybe I'm just in a bad mood, but these tropes are kind of getting to me. And so that's going to be my question for today in the comments. Did you like the reveal of who Savitar was? Did you think that it was a good and interesting twist? And then, in a related note, do you think that there should be characters like the Savitar character from the comic book brought in at some later date, given a different name? Someone who is just more well-versed than Barry in the Speed Force, someone who's just a better speedster that can challenge multiple. Either way, this is the end of tonight's review. I'm feeling a little bummed because the CW shows haven't been as good since they came back from break. You know what you could do to cheer me up? Hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe to my channel so that I feel like we're building a community. And of course, comment down below. Let's talk about this. Maybe you're of the opposite opinion. Maybe this surprise totally blew you away and you're like, man, that was awesome. What are you talking about? Let me know. I'd like to hear if people are enjoying it more than I am. In the meantime, I hope you have a good night, and thank you for walking with me through the heart of the stories we tell.